So lately on social media, I've been noticing a lot of people talking about Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer in high regard, and I wanted to make a video on how I don't really agree with a lot of their opinions. It's not that I didn't like the game. I actually really enjoyed the game as a kid when I played it, and I mean, all the friends that I made, it was truly a magical time for Call of Duty, and I'll never forget the memories and moments I shared on that game. But I'm not going to sit here with rose-tinted glasses and be blinded by nostalgia and say that that game was flawless or that game was perfect. There were some really terrible game-breaking bugs and flaws and some really interesting development choices that I kind of wanted to dig into and talk about, while also giving my 2 cents into how they could fix it, while also staying true to the original vision of the game, which is super hypocritical on my part because I'm about to go through the perk slots and rework the game from the ground up essentially by changing a lot of shit, but I think it's necessary. The first thing that I would do for this game is I would take Blast Shield from the lethals category in the equipment slot and I would move it into a perk slot. And this game has pro perks as well, so the original Blast Shield would just be increased damage resistance towards lethal grenades and streak splash damage, while the pro version would just allow you to recook picked up grenades. And I think that is a very important perk and change to this game, especially with a game that has as much explosive damage, as much collateral damage, as this is a fucking red barrel everywhere you go in this game. And I think Blast Shield would be very popular. I mean, nobody ever used it in the original MW because it would block off your vision in this weird, like, Iron Man mask, and it was an equipment. Why would you use that over a Semtex? Moving on to one-man army and how it can be fixed, and it's pretty simple, really. All you have to do is make sure the perk cannot resupply grenade launchers, or not switch to a class that has a grenade launcher equipped, or any secondary free-firing launcher on that class. So no RPG, AT4, Thumper, maybe even the Javelin. I feel like the Javelin can be abused on certain maps. Just standing in the back of Afghan and firing them into the middle of the map or something stupid like that. You know how people are. I think the Stinger is obviously the safest one because it can only lock on to air vehicles, and I think that's the best way to fix one-man army and make it what it's meant to do, is switch a class. Maybe in S&D you want to snipe at the beginning. Then when you're done with that, you switch to your Silenced TAR-21 and you're on the move. That's how the perk is, I think, supposed to be used. Or maybe they call in a UAV and you want to use Cold-Blooded, and so you switch to that class. It should never have been about standing in the back of Karachi, firing your Scar-H grenade launchers up over the mosque and down into the ruinous spawn where the minigun is. That should have never been what the perk was meant for, but that's how gamers are. Next on the list is Danger Close, and it's completely reworked. The standard version is throwing equipment farther, and the pro version is carrying 2 lethals. There was never a reason that it should have had an increased explosive splash radius. That's just childish. I don't even know why Infinity Ward would think that's a good idea, but they did. When we move on to Perk 3, I think that's when things get a little bit crazier. Last Stand is removed. That's just self-explanatory. That should never have returned from COD 4 or World at War, but it did. Tag Mask is added, and for the normal version that is increased resistance to flash and stun grenades, and then the pro version is copy and pasted from Black Ops 1, which is stunning or flashing an enemy will reveal the general direction via a small yellow directional indicator near the crosshair. It was really helpful in Black Ops, and I think it would be great to have something that could actually counter stuns, since there never was anything to counter it back in 2009. Commando is reworked a little bit. The pro version stays the same, but instead of meleeing farther, you just melee faster, so you can actually, go back from your knife being out to your gun being up just a little bit quicker. I think that's a necessary fix because we all know how incredible the Commando Lunge is. The Commando Lunge is so infamous that it is called the Commando Lunge in any other video game today where your character goes from one part of the room to the other and melee somebody. It's self-explanatory. It is the Commando Lunge. Everybody in today's culture knows it. Moving on, the underbarrel grenade launchers and the rocket-propelled grenade launchers themselves would be nerfed. quite a bit, mainly in the splash damage radius. It was just a little bit too large, I think. They were basically pocket nukes. There's no reason that people should be using underbarrel grenade launchers as primaries, and I think perhaps if the damage output for them was decreased, then you wouldn't see people running around with riot shields and RPGs. If these changes came to fruition in a hypothetical Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer, I believe it would be the greatest Call of Duty of all time. I truly believe that, hands down. It would fix every problem I ever had with the game. Now, there are obviously some other things that I would tinker with, but it gets to the point where it's not even really the game that you played in 2009, you know, removing the riot shield, moving shotguns as secondaries to primaries, kind of mixing and matching some different attachments, you know, like actually adding the MW2 red dot to the F2000 and TAR-21, because they always had that Mars sight as a red dot instead of the standard red dot. Just small stuff like that, but I know a lot of people would probably raise fucking hell if I even suggested that. Which is kind of like what the second part of the video is kind of like what I would do, like some of the really crazy shit, especially for the perks. Which I'm just going to kind of leave images up, just for you to kind of read what I would do to the game in terms of the perk slots. I think perks are really important in this game, and kind of like what I would do in terms of rebuilding Modern Warfare 2's perks category. So I'll just leave that here at the end of the video. I know this is kind of a strange video, a lot of me just rambling. I'm not very good at making YouTube videos, and so that's why I never do it. But sometimes I just really get things stuck in my head, and I can't stop thinking about them, and it just makes me want to actually, I guess, hear myself talk about it. And that's what this Modern Warfare 2 video was about. I would absolutely love a Modern Warfare 2 remastered multiplayer game. Do I think we'll ever get it? It's tough to say. I don't think we'll ever get it unless some things are fixed. It's just that's the way the cookie crumbles. So yeah, just give me your opinion on Modern Warfare 2 Remastered multiplayer. Are you a fan of it? Do you want it to happen? Did you play Modern Warfare 2 in its prime? Have you even played Modern Warfare 2? Definitely recommend. It's probably a lot harder to get into a multiplayer game now. At least it was when I last tried to play it on the Series X. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video with the images of the perk slots and how I would really change this game if it was remastered. And thanks for watching.